You sent the message at 9 p.m., the promotion, the deal closed, the win that took years. You watched the 3 dots appear, then disappear, then nothing, not silence, a specific kind of silence. You checked the next morning. Maybe they were busy. By lunch, they had posted 3 things, replied to others, liked photos. Yours stayed unread. And the man you thought you knew, the one who said he'd be the first to celebrate with you, became someone else in your mind that day. What you saw in that silence was not rudeness. It was a confession. 3 things their silence revealed. 1 transformation it forces, and 1 warning Jung wrote about every man who survives this moment. There is a phenomenon Carl Jung observed in nearly every man who became something more than the people around him. He called it the cost of envy denied. The moment a man's success exposes something his closest people refuse to see in themselves. Most people believe envy is loud, cursing under the breath, subtle insults, active sabotage. Jung studied something more dangerous, quieter. He called it the unspoken withdrawal. A man wins, and the people who knew him before he won feel something they cannot name. It is not anger. It is not pride. It is something the unconscious refuses to admit, and so it shows up in the only place that does not require consent, their silence. Jung wrote that envy denied always returns through omission. The text not sent, the congratulation not offered, the eye contact avoided next time you meet. This is not coldness, it is psychological survival. Because the moment they acknowledge your win, they have to acknowledge their own stillness. And most people will burn a friendship before they burn that comfortable lie about themselves. There is something even darker at work. When 2 men start at the same line, and one moves while the other stays, the one standing still does not see his own paralysis. He sees your motion as an accusation. You did nothing wrong. You won. But your win became evidence of his stagnation. And the unconscious mind has only 2 ways to handle evidence. It cannot accept, attack it, or pretend it does not exist. Most friendships die through the second option, not through fights, through the slow disappearance of the people who used to celebrate you. The first thing their silence reveals is the actual size of the relationship, not the size you believed in, the size that was real all along. Most friendships are built on sameness, same struggles, same complaints, same level. You did not realize this, because as long as you were equal, the friendship looked like love. But love survives growth, sameness does not. Jung wrote that the man who advances learns who actually loved him, by who is still standing in the room when he turns around. Most rooms empty quickly. Think about the last big thing that happened to you. Now, think about who showed up, not who was supposed to, who actually did. That is the real list, the one you've been editing in your head. The second thing their silence reveals is uglier. They never thought you would do it. Not consciously. They would deny this if you asked. But somewhere in their map of who you are, you were the one who did not advance. And when you did, you broke a position they had assigned to you years ago. Every group has invisible roles. The successful one, the struggling one, the funny one, the reliable failure. These roles are not chosen, they are assumed. And when one person breaks role, the entire group experiences it as a betrayal. Remember the friend who said something strange when you announced it, a joke that landed wrong, a compliment with a hook in it. That was not bad timing. That was the role rejecting you in real time. The third thing their silence reveals is the most final. The friendship is already over. They have not realized it yet. neither have you. But Jung wrote that some things end before anyone announces them. The dinners will continue for a while, the texts will still come, less often, but the spirit of the friendship, the part that made it feel like home, left the moment they did not respond to your win. What remains is the corpse of a connection both of you will keep dressing up, until one day one of you stops and realizes the silence after your win was not silence. It was the death of something neither of you wanted to bury. And here is the part almost no one is ready for. The people who go silent after you win are not your enemies. They are the people who loved a smaller version of you. And the man you became is the man they cannot follow. Once a man understands what their silence revealed, three things change inside him forever. He stops sharing his wins, not from bitterness, from precision. He learns that announcements were never the celebration, they were the test. The people who passed will know what he is doing without being told. The people who failed will hear about it from someone else and pretend they always knew. He stops grieving the friendships that quietly ended. Schopenhauer wrote that the mature man learns to thank the people who left, because they made the room they took up available again. The man who has crossed this threshold no longer asks where his old friends went. He notices, instead, who walked in after the silence. The third change is the deepest. He stops being readable, not cold, not arrogant, contained. He no longer broadcasts his moves. He no longer narrates his progress. The people who stayed are read into the next chapter. Everyone else is updated by accident, months later. Jung called this the silent ascension, the point at which a man's life becomes too valuable to share with people who never planned to keep up. Picture it now, years from now, a different room, people you have not met yet, sitting at a table you have not yet bought. They are laughing at something you said. They are listening when you are quiet. They are showing up when you have not asked. And you realize something the silence taught you. The friends who went silent after your win were not punishment. They were a filter. The room you thought you lost was never the room that was meant for you. And the man you became, the one their silence helped forge, could only have entered this new room alone. What Jung described throughout his work on individuation was exactly this kind of forging. That growth is not loss, it is exchange. The friends who could not survive your win were already gone. The silence just made it visible. If a name came to mind during this video more than once, the work has already begun. And there is one more thing about this transformation that almost no one talks about. The next video on this channel was made for the man who has already lost the friend. He is not yet ready to admit he lost. Watch it when no one is watching you.